If you're a prospective parent or a prospective student or even a prospective employer who may be considering me for a leadership position, you should watch this video because you may not like my style of teaching or leadership. I assume that my leadership style would probably mimic my martial arts instruction style, and some people have a problem with it. So here it goes. When it comes to students slash subordinates, but I'll just stick with students. This is a martial arts channel, and you could extrapolate that to whatever you want. When it comes to students, I don't like to yell at my students. I don't like to have an overly rigid atmosphere for them. I don't mind if they ask questions. I prefer that they feel at ease. I make them work hard, but it doesn't bother me if they're not standing at attention all the time in my presence. I really don't need for them to be absolutely quiet. I need them to pay attention if I'm explaining something, but I don't need to run it like it's the military. Because I feel like I'm dealing with civilians, and when it comes to martial arts, they need to be able to defend themselves without being overly aggressive. What they're doing is dangerous enough. I also believe that in terms of discipline, that it's the parent's job to instill discipline. When you come to me for a lesson, or if I'm leading you in the business world, I expect you to have enough self-discipline to do what I ask you to do. If I can't ask you to do something and you comply with it, I'll ask you to sit on the side. I don't really want to have to expel anyone from the classroom unless it's absolutely necessary. Whenever I've had a disruptive student, I just ask the student to sit out. I'm willing to accommodate new ideas. People can make suggestions. The only time I ignore a suggestion well, I won't ignore it, I will say, no, we can't do that right now, is if I know that there is a deficiency that we really need to go over and address, or there's a problem that we really need to attack, which is keeping us from moving forward. Other than that, I'm open to ideas and questions and suggestions. Why? Because I feel secure in the authority that I have if I'm in charge. If I'm in charge, I know that I'm in charge, and I don't have to constantly remind you that I'm in charge. I am, and I make adjustments based on feedback that I get. So, why I say some people have a problem with that is some people want a really stern, authoritative type of leadership, especially if they find out that I used to be in the Marine Corps. I guess they expect me to act like a boot camp sergeant. The only place I've ever seen sergeants act like boot camp sergeants in the military was in boot camp. I rarely saw that in the reserves or my little brief 2-week active duty stints. I mean, I rarely saw people behave like that, what they would call, I guess they call it out in the fleet, in regular service. That's a stereotype of the military. The only time you get the screaming and rigid control that I've seen is in training, in boot camp, because they're indoctrinating you to taking orders and they're trying to force feed discipline. As a martial arts instructor, I don't really have to, in my opinion, I don't have to force you to have stern discipline because it takes discipline to get to the level of black belt. If you don't have self-discipline at all, you're not going to get past yellow. You might not even make it to white stripe. I've rarely seen, I don't think I've ever seen anybody who was lacking in self-discipline make it to green belt. Honestly, the highest they may get is orange. Because to accomplish a long-term goal, like getting a first degree black belt, in and of itself takes a lot of self-discipline without somebody yelling at you or forcing you. If you want to get that, and you want to keep coming back and coming back and coming back again and again and again, the process of accomplishing the goal will instill the discipline in you. In my opinion, I don't think I have to force it or inject it there. So like I said, some people may not like my style of leadership or of instruction because they see me, you can't really tell it from this phone being in my face, but they this menacing looking guy. So they want this menacing person to scare their children into acting right. But in my opinion, you don't need to fear me. Getting ready to get politically incorrect? You need to fear the Lord. That's who you should be afraid of. You should fear the Lord, because the Bible says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. They didn't say the fear of Mr. Washington is the beginning of wisdom, or the fear of Cecil, Gloria's boy, Anthony's little brother, what's his name, who that one, and all the other handles I have, I guess. Those are not the... Fearing me is not going to get you anywhere. Fear God. If you fear God, and I'm your instructor, you'll listen to me, and you'll listen to your parents, listen to your teachers. For grown people, you listen to your supervisors, you listen to law enforcement, and all that other stuff. So if you happen to find this and you want to scrutinize where you're going to put your $40 for 2 months of instructions, you really want to weigh that out, I'm warning you, I'm not going to be screaming at your children all the time. If you need them to go to the Army, you need to enroll them in something that's a military school. Because I can tell you, if you go at every physical confrontation like it's war, you're setting yourself up for using excessive force. That's what I think. If there's a psychologist out there or someone else who knows better, please correct me in the comment section. That's all I have to say on this video. Thank you and have a good one.